Hey there, I'm Robin Rainbow Gate, and I want to talk to you about simple living today. So recently, somebody wrote to me and asked a question asking, what are the simple ways of healthy living? And I thought about that, and usually I have a lot to say, and this was the shortest answer I think I've ever given. It was 3 sentences, and they were: prepare and eat unrefined whole food, walk or ride a bike as transportation, or a donkey or a horse, and then design your life to have time for these things. I thought, really, that's it, at least for me. And it's like such an invitation and such a big jump. And I know that there's a lot in there for a lot of people. There's so many implications for these simple things. What would it mean to eat whole food that's unrefined? It might mean to grow your own. There's so much involved in that: time, knowledge, care, space. Even if you're not growing your own, how and where do you get it? And how do you get to the place where you get it? And if you're not driving, how do you get all your food home? There's it's all interconnected, and there's so many details. What if where you work isn't near where you live and you can't ride a bike or walk? What if you have to dress a certain way for work, and so walking or riding a bike wouldn't be appropriate? I've actually dealt with that, and there were years where that was my situation too. So I'm not saying that it's easy, but I do think these are really strong invitations and potential jumping off places. And then with food, if it's unrefined, if it's whole food, well, then there's also preparing it. How do you prepare it? What are you eating? How are you choosing what you eat? So I wanted to acknowledge that there's a lot involved in these very simple statements of eat whole, unrefined food and walk or ride a bike instead of driving. But I do invite you to think about what's between you and that. What are the buts? Are those ways of living that are appealing to you, at least ideally? And do they seem important? Do they seem valid? Would they lead you to more of how you want to live and who you want to be and who you really are? How do you really want to live? So these are really big and I think important questions. Our culture has developed in a way to encourage us forgetting who we are, connection to the earth, connection to ourselves, connection to nature, connection to natural rhythms. And so if those things seem important to you, if you know that they're important to you, well, it's one thing to think them, and it's another thing to take actions so that those things are actually how you're living. So that's how I've created my life, and for me it's very satisfying because it makes sense to me. It's whole, it's more balanced, it's more affordable, and I feel much more in harmony with my body, with nature, and with my values, which to me means a lot. So I would love to hear from you and know what your thoughts are about all this, what gets in your way, what feels important, and what are you willing to do as a next step. I have written a book called Calling Myself Home, Living Simply, Following Your Heart, and What Happens When You Jump, that tracks my story, my life story, and the decisions that I ultimately made that got me to living where and how I live in a rural indigenous village in Mexico. And I also offer courses and soon retreats to help support you in creating your life, your next chapters in a way that makes sense to you and ring true to you and will bring you richness and fulfillment, because you deserve that.